All right, so let's take a look at Adobe Spark for the non-web page building. So let's say you have a poster, a flyer, collage, etc. You can have any of these options. You can type in your own. So let's say I want to look up posters because that's what I'm going to be designing on. And I'm just going to start, sort of scrolling through. You can see it sort of functions just like Canva. So let me pop Canva up also, just so you can see sort of a comparison between the two. If I were to type in the exact same thing, poster, um, let's just go general poster. It's going to be 18 by 24, so that's going to be pretty big, but that's all right. And you can see the same thing is happening here. So you can have, specific styles. Now I'm going to just say one thing that I do is I don't really pay attention to their subject matter. Because what I'm looking for is more the layout. So, maybe I'm like, I don't know, I like the orange and the shapes of this. I don't care what the subject is because I'm going to be changing and rearranging it anyway. So I just look instead for like, if I'm going to start manipulating from a template, you can do so from there. Or, and I'll just keep talking about Canva since I'm in there, you can see that under the elements, you can choose between, let's say I wanted to start with a pop out circle and I wanted it to, one of them to be here. I right click, copy, paste, control V, and then maybe this one's going to be a little bit bigger. So I can design my own elements. I can change my colors. I can keep editing. So think of this as like Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop style, but you're just doing it all within your browser. If I wanted to search, I could say, okay, I do want to see more with the graphics. Maybe this little squiggly line is interesting to me. You can see it does give recommendations. Also, maybe I want something like a gradient in the background. Then I right click, send it to the back. Then you can resize it however you wish. And just in a few quick clips, we're already, getting something here on the page. You can add your own uploads, your own photos. We can add text. So this is just their default text title here. All right, so it's giving us our default typeface. And when you click on the type here, options, options, options. Anything that has the little crown or is grayed out, that's saying you need the premium. So if it's action item, you're going to be able to use it. If it's grayed out, you are not going to be able to use it unless you pay for the premium plan. But I have found with both Spark and Canva, there are so many free options that you really don't have to worry about that. If you were doing something more web video based, you can add the audio and video. You can change colors. You can mix colors. So if it's not quite the tone you wanted, you're going to have that option here, and you can change the hex code on that if you're like, what in goodness sakes is a hex code. Couleurs is a great site to find colors that will harmonize within your page. You start the generator. You can see it's going to give you a default something. It might work, it might not, but when you hit your space bar, boop, it's going to change those colors. And these numbers here are the hex codes. So if I wanted, what was I making? So I want something darker. Okay, let's just go with this. And I'm going to copy this, take it into this, and paste it. It's going to change it to that color. Maybe I should have picked something more radically different than what I'd made. But it's going to change the color to whatever hex you chose. So let's go something more obvious. Let's say this one. All right, so change that color. And what I like about that, let's go ahead and put it there. There we go, is it allows you to see what the colors are going to look like in the layout. And if you keep going in design, you use hex codes when you're designing web pages as well. So, and you can put it into Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop also. So in Color Picker, you can see the RGB, CMYK, hue, saturation, etc. And then there's the little hashtag thing. That's where your hex code goes. So it will translate to those apps also. You can save these if you really like it. You can export the colors, and I'm going to show what that is. You know, if you had saved it, it will take you back to the URL. It'll make it a PDF, an image. It spits out the CSS and your code, so that's super handy as well. So, you know, you can add anything that you want in here. Spark is exactly the same. Let's just grab any of them. Sure. Because we're not really worrying about what, you know, they're saying. It's just sort of starting us with some things. So when I double click here, you can edit the text. I have all the pop-ups up, so let me close that up here because it was title here for our other one. Sorry, my keys are falling. Title here. Here. If you don't want something, you can delete it. You can change it around if that one's not working for you, or if this isn't right, or if you want to change the opacity, you can do that as well. So it's not quite so in your face. And you can see in this app, it's functioning, you know, pretty much exactly the same. If I want to add more type, I can add it here. So you can see I can edit with this. Whatever I want to say can go here. You can change the alignments. You can change the sizes. And this is just going to be sort of their preset sizes. If it's too big, grab that corner. You can move it in. You can move it out. You can pretty much do anything you want with that. So, you know, if I wanted that to be rearranged so that it was on one line, you know, it would be able to do it from there. You can see it'll keep adjusting it. It does make font recommendations, so you can go with that. Here's all their typefaces, and just as a reminder, and I don't know if I have this logged in here. I do. All right, so my Creative Clouds here. You can manage all sorts of typefaces here. These are the ones I currently have active, but you can still browse more fonts. I'm just going to bring that from the other screen. So if you're like, I really wish I had something geometric. Here's all of these options. And you can see I have this one already activated. So it's going to show it. If you're like, I'm done with it, you can turn that off. You know what? This is a nice slab serif. It's nice and modern. I'm going to view this family. And this is looking really good. I'm going to activate these fonts by turning it on. So all the typefaces are active, and then that instantly talks to Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, Dreamweaver, etc. It will connect through all of them. All of that is sort of built into this also. So, you know, you can have so many typefaces options within this, just like in Canva. You can change the effects, etc. Add your photos, add some shapes, and you can see the two are set up really quite similarly. Let's, you know, change the color. Maybe we want it, oops, I did not, well, okay, that one's gonna be hot pink now. That's fine. You know, same thing. You can rearrange it. You can change the proportions of this. You can give it a border if you so desire. Turn it on. Maybe it's not going to let me do it on this one. There it is. So let's make it blue. There we go. All right. You can make it larger or smaller. I always like to work in extremes so that you can see it. But with this, you know, you can design pretty much anything. Let's just go ahead, click all. If I wanted to type in, I guess it's giving us suns, etc. Art. Let's see what shows up for art. Perfect. So here's our little sort of line art images. I'll click on one. There it is. Lo and behold. But you can bring your own in, of course, also. So, you know, you can upload your photo. It's going to link it through Adobe Stock. Let's just type the same thing here, art. That way it's nice and consistent so we can get the same things. Of course, this is not really, you know, I'm just going to click on any of them, that great of a composition, but you can see how you can sort of bring things in. Same thing, you know, you can change it to a multiply, which if you take me in like 202 ever, I talk about the benefits of our layer style. So it's even imitating some of the layer styles that you can do in Photoshop and Illustrator. Take it back to normal so that we can see it. So, you can move them to the front, you can duplicate it, you can change the layer order, you can move it down all the way to the back. So both Spark and Canva function in the same manner. It's just going to depend which one clicks more with you. They're both pretty versatile. So I always recommend just play around with both of them, see what works best for you. The nice thing with the Adobe is that, it's going to save to your Adobe account cloud here with Penn State. But again, whatever is comfortable for you is great. Same thing as with Canva. You can download it, JPEGs, PNG, PDF. You can share it. You can invite people to work with it because as you know from our projects, when we have like the group shares, etc., some people like to go in here and like if you're doing in another class a group, say, poster project, then all of you can have access to it. And same thing with Canva. You can see I could share it if, oh, I'm not logged in, but you could share it if you want it, and Canva will track the changes, and you can also do comments, etc. with it, and same dealio with Spark. So lots of options. You can have a lot of fun with this. And I would say just, first step of anything in design or art making is just, do what I did here. Make a page, grab a template, mess around with it, toss some things on it, and just have fun with it without worrying about the project itself. Set a timer for 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever you want, and just sort of goof off and see what everything does. And then when you come back into your project, you have a better idea of what the tools do, or maybe more what you want to do with it. So for this, and as with everything, I just want you to explore, experiment, and have fun with the process.